We will call to order the regular board meeting for the Board of Election Commissioners for the City of Chicago. Today is February 23rd, 2016. Good morning. My name is Marisol Hernandez. I'm the chairman. Seated to my left is Jonathan Swain, Commissioner, and to my right is William Cressy, Commissioner. The next item on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda. Are there any changes, edits, additions at this time to the agenda? If not, we will proceed with the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 9, 2016. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes and minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is the Executive Director's Report. Mr. Goff, how are things going?
You'll have an election, it won't be very pretty. Just to let the board members know that I've been discussing, we have some polling place vacancies. I have copies of the list I'd like to pass out to my board members. As of right now, we have 41 vacancies, and hopefully I'm making phone calls, and several of the wards have asked me to come out there and take a look at some of the sites, so I'm going to be doing that today and tomorrow. If you look at some of the wards, I can't understand why there are any vacancies, but it's something that we're working on. And I'm just letting the board members know, I think we really need to start thinking about vote centers. It's harder and harder to get polling places. A lot of the condos are issues with security. I mean, Mr. Allen and I went out to several of the wards, and you know, they just do, when we increase the size of polling places, it adds more problems. When we had smaller polling places, the condos would be a standalone polling place. When we increased the size, then they had to bring others in, and they just don't want to. And it's become a problem. And it's something that we fight at every election, and the last several elections it's really getting hard, and especially a lot of the high rises. So I just wanted the board members to be aware of something that we need to think about, and it's also, when we're looking at new voting equipment, we have to look at what type of equipment would be best suited for poll centers, if we do go to that.
Did we do legislative action to
Yes, we do.
that?
Yes, we do. That is something that we need to. But basically, it's expanding on early vote.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is, at a lot of locations, you cannot find parking. So it's something that we really need to work on.
Okay.
Would we also legislatively have to increase the number of voters per precinct, or we're going to reduce the number of precincts?
What we did is we reduced, a couple of years ago, we reduced the number of polling places by 500. And from then on, it's become an issue. I know there's a standard, Jim, isn't it 600? Around 600
Right.
per registered voter per precinct.
Right.
So it's something that we will take a harder look at, and I hope to give some kind of legislative package to the board members to look at. But it's something that we really need to discuss.
And in the end, reducing the number of polling places through poll centers would also be more economical for the board and for the taxpayer.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
We just have to balance that with accessibility.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have to look at, I call them, you know, we had food deserts in some parts of the city. You have polling place deserts where it's hard to get, where people have to go, take a bus, you know, for 5-10 minutes. When polling places were originally designed, it was designed where you could go in your neighborhood and walk to your polling place. This has become a problem. So I just wanted to let the board members know it's something that we really need to take a hard look at. I hope to have this wiped out by Monday. We should be 100% by Monday, I'm hoping. I've gotten a lot of word back from different people in the ward saying they'll help. So once I start going out and meet with them, I hope we can get it done.
Thank you.
That's one item. Second item is...
Well, let me ask one
Yes.
question. Are there any kind of statutory notice kind of things that go along with having to let people know where the polling places are?
We
And
will.
when is that deadline?
We will send a notice to every registered voter in those precincts that are on that list.
Okay,
So they will get a letter from us saying that your polling place is located at such and such. So
Okay.
everybody will get a notice. And closer, what we'll do is we'll put signs out where the old polling place was, saying it's been moved to such and such
Okay.
location. So we will go out there and make sure that everybody knows. In fact, at one time, we've actually gone door to door and placed notices out there.
okay,
So it's something that we will do.
okay.
The other item is that the last day of registration, we had, pass out copies. I was asked, how many did we take that last day? Thank you. And just to let everybody know, in the lobby from 8 a.m. to 4:59 p.m., we took 227 registrations. In the lobby here at 69 West Washington, from 5 p.m. to midnight, we took 341 registrations. So on that one day, we took 568 registrations. Total online registrations, last day to register, was 6,912. So as you can see, it's getting easier and easier to go online, and I think we need to push it. But there's 300 and some odd people that took advantage from 5 to midnight, and it's something that I'd like to encourage. So I just want my board members to be aware of that. And also, we have a new total, registration total, and Jim Allen can speak to this, but right now, we're at 1,514,000. That was run today. This is higher than, Jim, correct me, higher than the last several years.
This is approximately 220,000 up from the 2008, 2012 primary numbers. Part of that reflects that there's a lot more online registration activity, but part of that also reflects that we're combining the canvass and the election notice right before the primary. So we expect that after the primary, we're going to be doing a lot of cleanup work, and a number of these will move to the inactive section of the voter rolls.
Question though, Jim,
Yes.
and so how does this number compare to the total universe of potential voters now?
If you look at census data based on how many people are 18 years of age and U.S. citizens in Chicago, we should have a universe of approximately 1.7 million out of our 2.7 million population who are eligible to vote. So this is pretty solid. This is a pretty strong representation. But like I said, we're going to find after the election and that some of these people have moved, and we're going to be working to move those to the inactive rolls. So probably we're going to be closer to 1.4 million this summer, I would guess, and then we'll see how much it increases back toward
Before the general
1.5
election?
in the fall.
Okay.
And basically, that's all I have. I know Kelly would like to talk about judges and where we are with electronic.
Kelly?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I'll start with registration. Just as Lance mentioned, the deadline was last week for quasi-deadline for register to vote. The registration department has all registrations in, except for some stragglers from the Secretary of State's office, which are they're either processing if they were timely completed. If not, if they're too late, then we send out letters notifying the voters of grace period. The file for the application for ballot was cut Saturday night, so that is on its way being printed. Early voting numbers. So as of this morning, we have 855 early voters. and that is here only in our lower level. We begin the 50 sites next Monday, the 29th. Absentee is going vote by mail is going very well. We get figures daily on the armed forces, standard citizens, vote by mail, permanent disabled, so that's going along really well. Judge of election. These numbers are so little, I can barely read them. But, as far as vacancies go, we have 890 vacancies on the Democratic side and 1,855 vacancies on the Republican side. As far as college students go, we have 539 assigned. High school students, we have 951 assigned. So that is going very well. I have lists for you, for each board member, after the meeting. Warehouse is doing a great job with pre-let of the voting equipment. We started last Friday. We have 8 wards completed, and that means pre-let is completed on both the touchscreen and the Insight and the hat. We are sending out the results cartridges and Mempacks daily, so they are keeping up, doing a great job. We will begin pre-let on the e-poll books this Saturday. We're going to create the file on Friday, create all the USBs that are needed to program the e-poll books, and we'll start that on Saturday. That is all I have.
Any other questions? Okay, Mr. Allen.
Morning. As Mr. Goff referenced, there was a very strong use of the online registration system. Kyle Thomas of the State Board of Elections told me there was clearly the best day yet, and that system has been in effect since June of 2014. So we had even higher numbers than we did ahead of November of 2014 or the April runoff for mayor. So this is the single best day yet, and Chicago has continuously led the way. So between the county clerk's advertising and our advertising, the word was definitely out to go online. Next advertising push is, of course, on early voting, with a little bit of vote by mail advertising. We also have our legal notice of election that has to be published in English, Spanish, Chinese, and Hindi on February 29th, the same day as, or earlier. So we're actually going to have to cut the file of the polling places a little ahead of that to meet the publication deadline and the statutory deadline. But we do have a follow-up publication of all the polling places the day before election day as well. Lastly, we've tried to simplify things by coming up with a web URL that doesn't go on forever and takes voters directly to the point where they're going to find their polling place. So we've done that in both English, or all three, English, Spanish, and Polish. So it's info.chicago, I'm butchering that in Polish. It's info.eleccioneschicago.com, and then it's chicagoelections.com/info for English. So we've got all three of those lined up. Those will take voters, and those will be, we hope, easier to communicate in ads and in media interviews and in legal notices.
Any particular reason the English version doesn't have the same?
Yes, the English version is it's just a page, and I wish we could do the other ones the other way, but the other domain names are simply redirects, and there's no way to buy a redirect that has /info like the in English or in Spanish and Polish. So what you can do is you can take your domain name and add info dot. So unfortunately, info works for all three languages. That was a pleasant surprise. We didn't have to come up with any special characters.
If I may, Mr. Allen, I became aware of a situation where we had an error on the sample ballot that was on the website, and I just want to commend you and people here at the board because you rectified that situation quite promptly, and I appreciate how promptly you fixed that situation.
Thank you. It was a situation that only involved the sample ballot file on the web. And what was happening was that on one area of the Republican ballots, it was, and this, again, this is only the sample ballots on the web, it was pointing to state senate when it should have pointed to the state representative, so it was pulling up a different district. We fixed that pointer right away, and as I emphasized with the person who brought it to our attention, this has nothing to do with our voting equipment, our printed ballots, our touch screens. It's an entirely separate database. We don't want the two databases to be touching each other. So the website is one thing and the entire balloting system. But that's a credit to our web vendor. He's very responsive. Once I brought the problem to his attention, he was on it in 20 minutes. So, and he had it solved in 5 minutes after that.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. We will now go to old business. I think we've touched upon, well, at this point, I don't think we have any infrastructure projects and changes in election administration. Is that correct, Mr. Brown?
Not at this time.
Okay.
After the election, you'll have a lot.
After. And with respect to electronic poll books, there are good.
Yes, as I mentioned, pre-lot starts on Saturday, so get ready.
Great. Anything else with respect to voting equipment?
I do have one question about the poll books.
Yes.
God forbid, a poll book fails or doesn't that work, or you got a lot of them out there. How are you training the judges to switch back to whatever manual system that you have, or what is the kind of process
Well,
dealing
there'll
with
be
that?
2 poll books at each precinct, so if one fails, they can use the other. But we do have the applications for ballots, so we do have the paper.
Okay.
They have to go back to manual processing voters. They have the applications for ballot. They will have the list of early voters, grace period voters, vote by mail voters. We create labels for them to affix to the application if someone early voted or grace period voted by mail. So yes, and special instructions. We have it all covered.
So are the judges, and forgive my not being as familiar with this changeover, but are the judges of elections being trained in both systems?
Sure.
They are?
Yeah, they're being told or notified that yes, if they have to go back to use, they know the old system. I mean, it's
Well,
an
I guess the
application for ballot.
question I'm asking is
Yes.
for a newer judge of elections, some of these college students or young people that may not be familiar with paper and
Right.
pen.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
So,
Yes.
how are we communicating or letting them know, hey, if there was failure, here's how the system works, and so you have
Right.
a
Well,
real understanding of that.
I'll be honest, we are highlighting more on the positive
Sure.
that the poll book is going to
Absolutely.
work, and so we're putting it in the materials for them. We're not spending a lot of time at training, bringing out the old applications and showing them how to process them.
So-
So they're detailed instructions on how to use the applications for ballot. And then there's always there is a senior judge in the polling place that has worked before and who's familiar with them, but we are not.
So I guess that was my
going
next
through
question.
training.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fine, I understand that,
Yeah,
that's
the
clear.
training is, right now, because of all the new processes, training is packed.
No,
So,
and
yeah.
that's clearly understandable. I guess the concern I have is
Sure.
the redundancy and the fail-safe.
Right.
That if something was to, we want to make sure that things are fluid.
Yes,
And I'm just wanting to understand how, for those that may not be familiar with the paper system, how we're doing that. So it sounds like what you're saying is that there will be some kind of redundancy in how you assign judges, so that there are more experienced judges with less experienced judges, or newer judges, or what have you. Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Plus, just from my experience working Election Central on elections day, failure rate is very small on the electronic poll books, and the judges can always call into Election Central and be walked through the process at that
Right.
point as well, and you have people sent out there if necessary, so, yeah.
Yes, we have techs that roam around the city on election day. We also have increased the number of ES&S techs that will be out in the field on election day, visiting polling places and fixing or curing any issues that the judges are experiencing with the poll book.
We'll have a whole army of vehicles out there to transport people, move stuff around.
Any other issues regarding voting equipment? Not at this time. And is there anything new regarding legislation? Mr. Scanlon?
There were a number of bills filed in the last couple of days. I know Mr. Goff has forwarded those to me. I haven't had an opportunity yet to go through those. I hope to do that in the next day or two, and I will get an updated status report on legislation to the commissioners within the next couple of days.
And those would be taken up in the spring?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to,
Possibly.
just to let the board members know, they've been passed on to us for our comment. So they're waiting for comment from us.
Okay.
So I just want you to be aware of that.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is new business, and we have two new agreements. The first one is an agreement for the lease of a mail extractor and envelope opener equipment to be used for opening of mail returned by vote by mail ballots, returned application, and high volume mailings. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Laurel? Okay. And the vendor here is Neopost USA? Okay. Is there anything else that we should know about this?
The only thing that I would like to add is, because these were custom ordered items, we had to pre-sign some of the documentation that you saw that was attached to your documents. So I wanted to explain that to you. So it wasn't until recently that we accepted the final mail opener that we actually got the final terms as far as when the lease agreement started. And you will note that there's two different dates for the lease agreements, because one, the extractor was prepared and shipped prior to the mail opener. So that's the reason why there's two different dates. I wanted to
Okay.
explain that to you.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the lease agreement with Neopost USA for a total lease cost of $38,537.28. And the contract term, as you said, Laurel, for the letter extractor is November 24, 2015 through November 23rd, 2018. And for the envelope opener is October 28, 2015 through October 27, 2018.
So
Is it-
moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes and the agreement is approved. Next on the agenda is a proposed agreement for a printing contract with citywide ward maps for the 2016 elections. Laurel?
Yes, these are the maps that are distributed in the ESCs for election day, that they use in the polling places by the judges, by the board leaders, so they can guide the voter to the correct location or show them what other precincts and other polling places there are. So it's part of multiple other supplies.
Okay. And this is, some of this, the board itself prints, is that
Yes,
correct?
that is correct, yes.
But because of the volume,
Yes.
we can't, we just can't absorb all the
It's-
work.
We don't have enough time because the window is so short from the time we actually get finalized to the time we actually have to turn around, send it over to the warehouse. It's less than 10 days,
Okay.
so it's very tight.
So is there a motion to approve the contract with Pelican Inc. in an amount not to exceed $70,000 for a term expiring on December 31st, 2016?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes and the agreement is approved. Next on our agenda is the legal report. Mr. Scanlon?
Madam Chairwoman, a couple of things going on. This morning, The board and the objectors in the Vasquez case filed memoranda in lieu of briefs in that Vasquez case. The order of the appellate court ordered that the parties file simultaneous memoranda. So I trust that the plaintiff, Mr. Vasquez, is also filing this morning, and the court is taking it under advisement. There's no oral argument, and then the court will rule when the court will rule, hopefully soon. We have a hearing tomorrow, strike that, on Thursday in the Inigua's case. That's 15th Ward Democratic Ward Committeeman, and that's set for 11 a.m., hearing on the petition for judicial review. On Friday, the 26th at 10 a.m., there's a hearing on the motion to dismiss the petition for judicial review that was filed in Nelson versus Stratton. That involves the race for the nomination of the Democratic Party in the 5th Representative District. So that will be heard on Friday. In a case involving a water reclamation district candidate, Andrew Sale, there was litigation against the Cook County Office of Electoral Board. The Circuit Court of Cook County affirmed the decision of the Cook County Office of Electoral Board. The objectors, however, have appealed, and the last brief is due in the Circuit Court, strike that, in the Appellate Court on March 7th. And the court will take it under advisement, and hopefully will rule expeditiously. So that's where we presently stand with regard to litigation.
Okay. Any questions? Next on the agenda is the financial report, and we have 3 vouchers. The first voucher is for the City of Chicago, voucher number 15-09 in the amount of $390,395.52. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next voucher is for the City of Chicago, 2016 appropriation, voucher number 1601, in the amount of $1,008,742.39. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The last voucher is for the County of Cook, and it is voucher number 16-02 in the amount of $1,020,887. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. I did not receive any public comment forms, but seeing that we're moving along, is there anybody that would like to say anything? Reverend Wilson? Hello? Good morning. Good morning. Okay. If not, is there a need for executive session?
No, Chair. No, Madam Chairman.
If there is no need for executive session, then is there a motion to adjourn to our next regular meeting? Or Mr. Goff, do we need a special meeting?
Madam Chair, I'm requesting the board, we do a weekly board meeting
Okay.
now through election day. We do not mind.
Is there a motion to adjourn until Tuesday, March 1st, for a special board meeting at 9 a.m.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.